Gather around the table once again for another session of Dungeons and Drakfus, and today we're taking on the final conclusive raid of the Cataclysm expansion as we venture into the raid itself is called Dragon Soul. I've seen other names for it, which is the Siege of Wyrmrest Temple, but the bottom line is that it's time for us to take on the Hour of Twilight itself as we delve into the Dragon Soul raid. So here we go, and first things first, let's just go ahead and get into the lore of Dragon Soul. Forged by Deathwing during the War of the Ancients, the Dragon Soul harnessed the combined power of the Dragonflights until it was ultimately destroyed. Through the caverns of time, Thrall and the remaining Dragonflights were able to recover the powerful artifact before its destruction. Now they have rallied at Wyrmrest Temple in a desperate attempt to use the might of the Dragon Soul against Deathwing himself. And people can remember from the Hour of Twilight instance, things are not so good for Wyrmrest Temple, so let's go ahead and start things up in the Dragon Soul raid. Now, we're going to be running this 25-player normal, not because of any other reason other than there is no heroic-only boss that comes to Dragon Soul. It's just a little bit easier to be able to run it this way, and a couple of these fights do still require a tad bit of concentration. So, here we go into Dragon Soul. And this is where you start things off, basically at the coast of Wyrmrest Temple. So you don't start things off the way you did in Hour of Twilight. It's time for us to gain a presence within Wyrmrest Temple and help out Thrall and the aspects. So here we go. Let's make our way to them. Normally you'd be doing this with 10 to 25 people, but you know what? We can solo this. We're that powerful. Oh. Uh-oh, so...
Wyrmrest Accord, attack!
Alright, so the Wyrmrest Accord is going to be helping us out in this task. Now, the funniest part about Dragon Soul is, like, people took notice of my...
They have broken our defenses. The very earth turns against us in Deathwing's name. You must hurry. Wyrmrest falls as we speak.
Advance to the front.
Is lost.
Okay, I'm gonna try and talk in between all of this, but first of all, a lot of people notice that I don't like Firelands.
Siege must be broken. Wyrmrest Accord, defend the line.
One of the reasons I don't like Firelands is because of the sheer amount of time that was spent there. And trust me, I spent a lot of time there, and it sucked. But Firelands eventually ended, and then we were able to get this. And the funniest thing is, when it comes to Cataclysm, most raiders that you'll ever talk to love Firelands and hate Dragon Soul. Well, I'm the opposite. I hate Firelands with a burning passion because of the amount of time that I spent in that area and seeing nothing but red and black and yellow for months. And I love Dragon Soul, and the reason why I love Dragon Soul is that despite the fact that, yes, it does look like some things were a little bit lazily done, the story still comes together, and it's a conclusive story to be able to wrap up the expansion. We'll get into more of that as we go along, but let's go ahead and deal with the lore of our first boss, Mortchok, as we take him on. The most powerful elemental still under Deathwing's sway, Mortchok, once a passive guardian, is now convinced that his only respite will come with Azeroth's demise. Mortchok rages against the foundation of Wyrmrest Temple, Azeroth's last beacon of hope in the Hour of Twilight. All right, so it's time for us to take on Mortchok, who's not that hard, honestly. I'm sure you will try. There you go. Oh, crap. I need to turn that off because that's going to be a lot of gear to grab. Okay, we need to be careful on that one.
The temple is ours. Fortify your positions within.
So, now that we've made our way to Wyrmrest Temple, it's time for us to take on a bigger threat that's actually being dealt with inside the temple. So you can see we have Valera, who's a member of the Emerald Dragonflight, and then we also have one that is of the Bronze, and that would be Iron Dormy. Now, this is actually where you get a little bit of choice. Technically, these bosses aren't optional. You do need to kill them, but you get to choose when you take them on, and that's helpful. Want to see if we can at least get some dialogue here, so you guys can get some explanations.
Thank you, sisters. I am renewed.
Tiragosa.
The old gods have shown themselves. A tide of darkness sweeps from their gaping maws towards the temple. We must buy the aspects more time. The faceless generals, Zan-Az and Yorsaj, command the enemy legions from within the monstrosities you see on the horizon. You must strike them down if we are to survive long enough to end this. Take flight on the wings of my sisters. They will transport you as close as they dare.
So what they're basically talking about is we're going to take care of the two monstrosities on the left and right of Wyrmrest Temple. We won't take care of the front one. We don't need to worry about it because it comes later. At least what comes out of it comes later. So we're going to actually start things off with Warlord Zan-Az and Board Valera, as she basically is going to drop us off in the mouth. And we are on our own from there. But in order for us to advance, we do need to take care of these generals. Okay, so if you couldn't understand what that was, so this is Warlord Zan-Az. This is why in a lot of cases people consider it lazy, is like Morchok is a recycled model from Stonecore, and Zan-Az is a recycled Ulduar model. So you're gonna see a lot of that, but I don't care, because again, this is still a good story being told. And I want to translate really quick. So Zan-Az basically whispered to us, "Once more shall the twisted flesh banners of N'Zoth chitter and howl above the fly-blown corpse of this world. After millennia, we have returned." Okay, so yeah, the Hour of Twilight is upon us, and again, this is the moment where the old gods would break from their shackles and take their vengeance upon their jailers. And the bottom line is, we have to stop this from happening. Bottom line. The Hour of Twilight must not come to pass. There we go, but first we're gonna take care of all of the nasties, all of these tentacles that seem to have just spawned up in this belly. There we go. Take care of you. And just kind of make our way through. Now, one of the reasons I like Dragon Soul, I'm not even gonna lie, might be the fact that this was actually my first ever raid, conclusive raid, that I was ever able to complete at progression. So, believe it or not, even though I technically started raiding way back in Burning Crusade, I was in a 10-man team, couldn't do Sunwell. In Wrath of the Lich King, I had joined my current guild at Icecrown Citadel, but never got as far as, or the furthest I ever got was Sindragosa on progression. I never even saw the Lich King until much, much later. So then Cataclysm rolls around, and I actually did a lot of it progression. I did tier 11, 12, and 13, and I also did tier 13 as a raid leader. And so in a lot of cases, that made it even more meaningful to me, because I was able to actually lead a team to victory in normal at the very least, and we literally finished it the week before basically the raid nerfs that usually come through after a while kicked in. So we were able to do it on normal difficulty at its original difficulty, and I was very proud of myself for being able to help out and lead a team to be able to do just that. It took us forever, but I'm not necessarily faulting that. Now, actually, let's go ahead and go over the lore of Warlord Zan-Az before we take him out. Countless ages ago, Warlord Zan-Az and his soldiers waged endless war against the forces of Cthulhu and Yogg-Saron. Millennia have passed, but the Warlord still serves the chaotic might of the old god N'Zoth. Deathwing has now unleashed this legendary Faceless One to crush the defenders of Wyrmrest Temple. So, let's go ahead and take on Warlord Zan-Az. Or as most have come to call him, the volleyball boss, because that's basically what he is. So that ball that's actually going to the wall, yeah, if it gets to the wall, then he basically gets a power-up. And we're gonna try and stop him from getting that,
Better
Boom.
target something first.
Let's see, do we get anything? No, not really. Okay. I want to make sure that we don't overload my bags. There you go, 2 bosses, so there's only one other optional one to take care of. I say optional, he's not optional.
A single general remains. You must make haste.
Okay, so now that we've done that, then we'll be able to help out Thrall in the aspects. So let's go ahead and board I Endure Me to take on Yorsaj the Unsleeping. But yeah, Dragon Soul to me is just been a really awesome raid to come back to, and even now I get nostalgic with it, not just because of the good memories that I had, but also just the fact that this is a story that ends this expansion. All right. So just to quickly translate, what Yorsaj was saying was, our numbers are endless, our power beyond reckoning. All who oppose the Destroyer will die 1,000 deaths. And the cool part is that they actually give you a little bit of a sample into how this fight works with its trash. Ooh. No, we don't want that. So we're gonna go ahead and kill all the globule trash. There we go. There we are. I'll grab that green. Why not? Okay. These guys. Okay. Boom. We're almost done with the trash. And so, like I said, maybe this is just more nostalgic to me because I literally was able to finish this expansion story, and I'm happy about that. I wasn't even able to do that with Miss Pandaria. I had to come in later, and I technically had seen Garrosh at the end of Miss Pandaria, but I hadn't seen some of the fights that were in between, so that wasn't able to happen because I was at school. Warlords of Draenor, I don't even think I got to see I don't think I've downed Archimonde unless it was LFR maybe, and that's it. And Legion, yeah, I've been equally busy, so I haven't even done Antorus yet, so that'll be an interesting thing when I actually get around to it. But let's go ahead and get into the lore of Yorsaj the Unsleeping. Since the fall of the Bastion of Twilight, Yorsaj the Unsleeping has eagerly assisted Deathwing, providing the Destroyer with the means to release more faceless ones from their prisons deep beneath the earth. Their numbers are endless and their power is beyond reckoning, and Yorsaj intends to reap a grim reward for his faithful service. And so this is basically the slime boss. Boom, we don't care. He goes down so fast. Oh. Spire of coagulated globules. Oh, okay, I'll take that. Boom, let's get that. And all right, so now that we've taken care of the 2 old god generals, it's time for us to ascend to the top of Wyrmrest Temple and help out Thrall in the aspects. So here we
The
go.
flow of darkness abates. It seems you truly are the heroes of legend.
Well, thank you, Tiragosa.
The
All right.
aspects have already gathered and await your arrival. Go now.
So Nethestraz is going to take us up to the top of Wyrmrest Temple. So yeah, we don't go into that mouth, but there will be something later that comes out of it. And so we will deal with that as it comes along. The only thing that's sad about this is that you don't see the aftermath of this in in Dragon Blight post Cataclysm. I would have really liked to have seen these dead old god husks there just to show as kind of a fragment of victory, but nope, that doesn't happen. Oh, and look at this, the Wyrmrest Summit is just destroyed. But here are the aspects and Thrall.
The power of the dragon soul is too great. I cannot wield it safely. Raging forces within it may be the doom of us all.
Then truly, we are lost.
Not necessarily. I believe, yes, it just might work.
So this is Kaligos. He is the new aspect of magic, replacing Malygos.
In the Eye of Eternity may allow us to converge the magical matrix contained within the Dragon Soul.
Yes, I see. we can finally turn Deathwing's own power back against him.
I sense danger. It is a trap, carefully laid for us, at this crucial moment.
We have no choice. We must have faith in our allies.
Hi there. We could do
I
it.
will open the way into the Eye of Eternity. You must not fail, heroes. The future of Azeroth hinges on your actions.
Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is he's going to take us back to the Eye of Eternity where we fought Malagos way back. And this is where we're going to grab the what is it called? The focusing iris. We're going to grab the focusing iris in hopes that that will help us be able to wield the power of the Dragon Soul. And so, we have Thrall here. We have Kalecgos, who replaces Malagos as the new aspect of magic. You have Alexstrasza already here, Ysera, and Nosdormu, who I actually forgot to mention this in all my dungeon playthroughs, by the way. If you didn't notice it, because they modify his voice quite a bit, he's played by Martin Sheen, of all people. He doesn't even sound like Martin Sheen, and it's great. It's awesome. But look, we already have a Twilight presence within. Oh, I think this is actually kind of bugged. Well, actually, never mind. These guys might actually just be here in 25, man, and I'm just not used to it. So yeah, there's a Twilight presence within the Eye of Eternity. That's not good.
Even with the aspect of time on your side, you stumble foolishly. Don't scream just yet. We'll cleanse this world of your kind.
Yeah, this is definitely kind of broken, but it's all right.
Do not leave this place alive.
Okay.
You pups don't
Oh,
stand a
jeez.
chance.
Okay, we can't go
Leave
into the
now
center.
while you can.
Yeah, this is a little broken because this is actually supposed to happen in waves, but this is the next boss that stands in our way, Hagara the Stormbinder. So let's go ahead and go into her lore. Hagara, one of the first students of arcane magic under the Forsaken, showed surprising potential for one who had started learning so late in life. But in her undisciplined attempts to bind elementals into servitude, she was ensnared and twisted by the Wind Lord Alakir. Now fiercely loyal to the Twilight's hammer, Hagara binds others for her elemental masters to torment. And as you can see, a lot of her stuff is based in nature and ice damage. I think this is actually wrong because it makes her out to be a mage, but she's actually a shaman. So let's go ahead and take out Hagara the Stormbinder.
You trust the Stormbinder. I'll slaughter you all.
Boom!
You pack of weakling dogs.
And the other thing that I should point out is that this was actually the introduction of Looking for Raid, or LFR as it's known now. So people might be wondering, why did I get this? Because the way that LFR worked is that it has to be divided into chapters, and so therefore Siege of Wyrmrest Temple is the first 4 bosses in LFR. So that's basically why we just had that happen. But now that we have the focusing iris, it's time for us to return and talk to Kalecgos.
What brings you to me, mortal?
Heroes, have you succeeded in acquiring the focusing iris? We were successful, Kalecgos!
Troubled.
They have returned.
Not entirely unexpected.
Thanks.
Excellent. We will begin the ritual at once.
Still blows my
The
mind.
ritual will
Martin
take
Sheen.
much from us, as it requires a very piece of our being. We will be weakened greatly.
Heroes, this burden falls to you once again.
Okay, so
You
let's...
must protect us from Deathwing's forces, while we imbue the dragon's soul with the power of the aspects.
Agreed. Okay, so
Speak to me when you are ready to begin.
this is where it kind of goes into like a phased encounter kind of deal. But as soon as we talk to Thrall, then we are going to unlock the next wave of trash. So let's go ahead and get that going.
Friend.
Heroes, we must place this burden on your shoulders once again. You must protect us from Deathwing's forces while we imbue the soul with the powers of the great aspects of Azeroth. You may begin your ritual. We will defend you! Yes, we want to start the encounter. Oh, hi, Deathwing. You are having a lot of fun out there. That's not good. So they're going to start their ritual. And looks like Deathwing's aware of it now.
It is good to see you again, Alexstrasza. I have been busy in my absence. Twisting your pitiful whelps into mindless abominations, bent only to my will. It was a very painful process.
They are my clutch no longer. Bring them down.
So what he's basically talking about is these are the eggs that he acquired from the Ruby Sanctum. So when Halion was there, these are the eggs that she was able to gather. And they are now corrupted Twilight Drakes. So we have to take them down, which is more of a mercy to them than it is to us. So, boom. Now, occasionally one will kind of assault the ground, but we have to take care of the big ones up in the air, too, because they will slowly make it so that you have nowhere to step in this area. You have only this tiny little piece of land to be able to secure. And as you can see, it goes a straight line across the platform. You can very quickly and easily run out of places to stand. I remember seeing a lot of LFR raids that didn't get this aspect, and the raid team would die. They wouldn't understand why, because there's nowhere to stand. You're in purple fire the entire time. That doesn't help. Okay, so Crackling Jade Lightning. But as soon as you kill the Drake that's actually creating the fire, then it dissipates. So you don't have to worry about it after that point. So grab this one. Crap. There we go. And now we gotta take care of this one. And the other thing too is that the Aspects and Thrall will take damage during all of this, and if they die, their ritual is interrupted and you have to start all over again. So make sure to not let Thrall die. It is not a good idea to let Thrall die. Oh, come on. I'm literally running out of energy here. Ah, boom! There you go. So that's all of them. Deathwing, you got anything else to say, brother?
Mere welts, experiments, a means to a greater end. You will see what the research of my clutch has yielded. Nefarian, Onyxia, Sinestra, they were nothing. Now you face my ultimate creation.
So people might remember I said,
The hour of twilight is nigh. The sun sets on your pitiful, mortal existence.
so the
I
epitome...
sense a great disturbance in the balance approaching. The chaos of it burns my mind.
And the beginning of the end. The shadow which blots out the sun. The bell which tolls your doom.
So remember, I said that a being...
As I may, look upon your death, mortal, and despair.
Okay, I need to make sure that I am careful about this, because I can start him up. Okay, so... this is the thing I was talking about. This is the being that was brewing in that evil maw. It is Altraxian, pretty much the strongest Twilight Drake that Deathwing has ever created. Let's go ahead and go over his lore before we take him on. He is so powerful, by the way, he pulled us into the Twilight Realm. More an abomination of dark energy than a dragon, Ultraxion has spent his short life absorbing the essence of captured nether dragons. Ultraxion is the only Twilight dragon Deathwing has praised, and his arrogance is overshadowed only by the cracking energy surging through this twisted form. Loyal to his master, Ultraxion swears to bring about the fall of Wormrest Temple. So, yes, he is a very unstable monstrosity, and he is basically the being that is supposed to usher in the Hour of Twilight. But we can't let that happen, so here we go.
Now is the Hour of Twilight.
And this is basically just a DPS race, which I will
Prince of the
win.
Earth, hear my
There you go.
call. Shield them in this dark hour, the last defenders of Azeroth.
There you go.
It is done. Our power now resides within the Dragon Soul. Our fate lies with you, Earthwarder.
Teresa, Karen, Agra, I will not fail you. I will not fail this world.
And with that, showtime. Ow! Oh, jeez. That's a pissed off Deathwing right there. So he took one right over the side, right above his neck. Or right below his neck. So it's time for us to follow Deathwing as he tries to run away to fight another day. We can't let that happen, though. Deathwing has already cost us way too much. So let's get the aspects aboard, as well as Thrall, who now wields the Dragon Soul.
He is heading to the Maelstrom. We must stop him now. We may never get another chance if he escapes into Deepholm.
All right, so let's get it on board. Come on, Caligos. And actually, all of these guys are going to be joining up at the nose of the ship to continue to build power into the Dragon Soul. So because I mean, you guys saw it. It's really powerful, and it was actually able to do some dang damage to Deathwing. That is awesome. So let's go ahead and talk to Sky Captain Swayze and see if we can help out in the chasing down effort.
And hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true.
Welcome aboard the Skyfire. You ready to chase down the end of the world? We are the Horde. We are always ready. Yes, we are. Okay, so we are right now above the frozen sea in pursuit of Deathwing. We need to make sure that he is no longer able to harm anyone ever again. It's time for us to end him. So let's go ahead and tell Sky Captain Swayze to speed things up.
It's not tragic to die doing what you love.
Oh, actually, he does have something else. He is heading into the mail. Oh, never mind. We already read that.
100%
Okay.
pure adrenaline.
We're catching up to the dragon. I think I can make him out through the cloud cover. Bring us in closer. So this is actually going to start up another encounter. And before we do that, let's go ahead and start up the lore for it so you guys can see War Master Blackhorn. Though once vast in number, only a few dozen Twilight dragons now remain. Astride these hardened survivors are the last vestiges of the Twilight Hammer's army, the elite Drake Riders of Deathwing's personal escort, led by the insidious War Master Blackhorn. They move with unholy purpose, driven to protect their Dark Master. And so let's go ahead and start this up.
All ahead, fool. Everything depends on our speed. We can't let the destroyer get away.
Oh, I was hoping you'd make it this far. You'd best be ready for a real fight.
Our engines are damaged. We're sitting ducks up here.
Okay.
You won't get near the Master. Dragon Riders, attack!
Now, the purpose of this fight is to keep the Skyfire alive.
Those monsters away from the ship.
So we're gonna do just that. Start taking these guys out. And they're actually gonna work on the Twilight Drakes. Oh, and now we can help out. Boom. But basically, the goal of this is to keep the Skyfire alive. If you can't do that, then you will fall to your death. Now, technically, I am not protecting the Skyfire as much as I should, and it's just because some nerfs have happened since then that allow for it to be a little bit easier. But the thing you have to watch out for, and you must kill, is there's actually eventually going to be Goblin suicide bombers that are going to go in, and these are them, the Twilight Sappers. So yeah, as you can see, he is making a break for the bridge, and that's a lot of damage to take on. Okay, so this sets up round 2. And the way that you avoid all the damage is you actually sit in the vortex, you take a majority of the damage, and the Skyfire takes a little. So that's actually really helpful. And, oh yes, let's go ahead and kill off this Twilight Drake. There we go. Let's take care of this other Assault Drake. There we go. And another Twilight Sapper, so we gotta take that on. Oh, there it is. There it is. Woo!
Oriana!
Oh, Twilight Onslaught. You gotta take in a lot of that damage. And boom. Now, we technically get 2 Twilight Sappers this time around, I think. We're running a little fast, but it's okay. I remember this fight giving us such grief. Such grief back in Cataclysm days. I'm so glad that now it's so easy to pummel. I've taken out my vengeance on this fight a number of times. This is the one that that my guild, or my raid team especially, kind of struggled on because we didn't have the necessary elements to be able to make it work. Okay, so let's go ahead and sit here. Boom! Let's go ahead and get over here and take care of this guy. Now that's the 3rd and final wave of the Vrykul that we were getting.
Trade everything on the armored Drake.
Now it's time for us to face War Master Blackhorn himself. Come on, knock him down. There we go. You did such a good job.
But I wonder if you're good enough to best him.
Well, we probably are, Blackhorn, but that's okay. So there you go. That is all of, not all of Dragon Soul, but all of Deathwing's lieutenants that we have to take on. It's time for Deathwing himself. And Deathwing was so big that even though this sounded better on paper than it was in full-on execution, Deathwing gets 2 encounters. Now, the first one I'm going to have to be kind of quiet because it does require still a little bit of concentration, and that is the Spine of Deathwing. We're actually going to drop down onto him and see whatever damage we can do to Deathwing himself.
100%
Let's go ahead and talk to... actually, first off, let's see if we can get any lower on it. Spine of Deathwing. When Deathwing first channeled the Dragon Soul's power against the other flights, the massive energies that were unleashed threatened to break apart his very body. Rather than forego his weapon, he had adamantium plates fused to his scales and to hold his body together. Later reinforced with elementium, these plates are now his weakness, the sole vulnerability to Deathwing's lethal presence. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and start this up. Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll. Every time everyone into the hold, we've got a dragon to kill. For the Horde! Okay, so it's time for us to drop onto Deathwing's back. We are right over him. Okay, so the purpose of this, the Spine of Deathwing encounter, is basically to take these big adamantium plates.
Tear up the plates, and we've got a shot at bringing them down.
All you gotta do is take some of these plates out to free up some space.
Don't worry about me. Stop the destroyer.
Okay.
Ain't you following, Darini?
All right. The only thing that makes this kind of frustrating is you have to, this is why I'm actually going to need to concentrate just a tad, because okay, we should be okay. Oh, dang it. So the purpose of this is basically to take one of the ads that come off the tentacles and power them up so much so that they do like a big old nuclear explosion. So this hideous amalgamation, you need to build up the damage that's been done to him. Oh, crap. Okay, I'm trying to remember how you actually keep him here. It's not easy. Oh, good, good. I might actually have to start moving around a little bit, and that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna have to kill one of these corruptions. Boom! Ah, dang it. I was hoping that wouldn't happen. And of course this one jumps up. Okay, there we go. So, okay, let's see if we can guide him along. Dang it! And that's how you can die, is that he will roll. And I stood in the fire, good. But yeah, if you move slightly, the tentacles will eventually just kind of keep you held whenever he rolls, but they won't do it for his minions. And so the bottom line is that if you are not being held back, you will fall off. So you have to keep that in mind. That's why I'm saying this is probably going to require a lot more concentration for me, because you still have to survive in this one particular. Okay, so here we go.
He's coming apart.
If need be.
Tear up the plates, and we've got a shot at bringing him down.
Oh.
Don't worry about me.
Gotta watch
Stop
where I
the
roll.
Destroyer. Ain't you following, Darini?
Let's go ahead and kill all these guys. Okay, there we go. Now, this is where it gets difficult, because now I have to gather up as many bloods as I possibly can. And I have to constantly rotate so that he will not roll anymore. But first, I'm going to gather up some plasma from these corrupted bloods. Because this is how you power up the amalgamations to eventually nuke them to get the plate off. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, come on. There we go. So this is where we basically start rolling back and forth. Rolling, 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 rolling. What? Rolling, 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 rolling. Come on. Okay, we gotta keep the amalgamation alive, though. That's the thing. Okay, boom.
Efforts are insignificant. I carry you to your deaths.
Take all the corrupted blood from him. And just keep moving back and forth. Back and forth. We need one more. Okay, so now he is ready to go. So boom, all you gotta do is kill him off. He will do a nuclear explosion. Hopefully. Boom, and that is enough to jar it loose. And there you go, burning tendon. This allows for a little bit more ground. There we go. I was getting worried there for a second. And as long as you have one tentacle up, then that's gonna be fine. But we have to take care of these searing, corrupted bloods. Oh, crap. We're gonna need to kill one of these guys. There we go. Just keep bouncing back and forth. Whee! And you have to do this 3 times. I can only imagine how hectic this is on heroic. Never done it, never will. You wonder why? Don't. It's one of those things I was like, I don't ever have to know that this existed. Boom.
Claim what you can, heroes. You and your world are doomed.
Are we now? Are we? Oh, jeez. My mouse is gonna get me killed. Okay, so bounce back and forth. Oh, cool. Nuclear. Okay, go nuts. Go boom. Nuclear blast, and then take care of the tendon within. And there you go. And then just resume the process. So I'm gonna take this guy out and let this hideous amalgamation stand. Oh, jeez. Again, my mouse is gonna get me killed. Okay, that's a lot of blood already. The cool part is that the amalgamation does not take so long in this phase to get filled.
Is admirable, but pointless. You ride into the jaws of the apocalypse.
Grab all of these. Almost there. One more. Okay, grab that. And he is ready to go boom. And that's it. This is the third plate. So as long as he doesn't fly off, yep, there you go. Okay, burning tendon. There you go. That's how that's done. Target locked. Ouchies. And of course he lands right in the middle of the maelstrom. Oops. And this takes us to the final encounter, not only with Deathwing, but also of the Dragon Soul raid as we deal with the madness of Deathwing. So let's go ahead and read into his lore. A warped mass of molten hatred and unfathomable power. This formless, mindless horror cannot be stopped. Whatever was left of Nelthari in the Earth Warder is long gone. His mind and soul corrupted and devoured by his old god masters. All this monstrous being desires is destruction, annihilation, and the end of all things. All right, well, with that being said, let's go ahead and start this whole thing up. So, Thrall, let's go. Well, first of all, claim our rewards. Dang it. I want to take those away. Not really anything. I remember trying to get to that trinket for forever, but now I don't need it.
Loktar,
Oh, my druid, I mean.
what is it?
You've done it! We defeated the Destroyer!
Done. At last, the Destroyer has met his end. Now,
Oh.
we can begin to heal our
You have accomplished the impossible. Succeeded where all Azeroth feared you would fail. Before you is the cache of the aspects. Take from it what you will, for you have more than earned the right.
Well, thank you. It's interesting that all the dragons are lined up
You
here.
may want to hurry.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's go and talk to him
Loktar,
again.
friend.
Do you hear
What
that?
is it you wish?
What is that noise? Inconceivable! He couldn't possibly be alive! It's time for us to find out.
You have done nothing. I will tear your world apart.
Let me see if I can get you
I
a
will bring you
better...
closer to the Emerald Dream. Seek safety there.
Yeah,
When the fight
so-
becomes too intense.
That is Deathwing, the madness of him. Basically everything the old gods ever did to him is now manifest as his body. Boom, so all you have to do is take care of these arm tentacles. Ooh, woo. And occasionally he will actually try to imprison these aspects and you will get benefits from them. Now, right now, he basically imprisons Ysera and I can't get any benefits from her. Same thing now with
I will
Nozdormu.
slow the Destroyer's attacks when I can.
There we go, and let's go ahead and take care of the final tentacle. And back in the day, this was insane to try and deal with. Just too many ads all at once, not fun. But thankfully now you can just nuke it.
My fire will not harm you.
All right, so we've freed Nozdormu, Ysera, and Alexstrasza. The last one remaining is Kalagos. Let's go ahead and take care of him. And we will finally be done, and...
I will charge you with arcane energy to blast your foes!
Boom. There we go.
I am Deathwing, the Destroyer, the end of all things.
And it's time for us to take the fight to Deathwing. End him now! There you go.
The
One step
Cataclysm.
closer. The unknowable, transcendent power of the Emerald Dream. I now give unto the Dragon Soul.
Now, the cool part is you can end this 4 different ways and get 4 epic lines from all of the drakes. But that is the end of Deathwing, the Destroyer. Neltharion, the Earth Warder, is no more.
I can feel the elements awakening, rejoicing. The Cataclysm is over.
The champions who fought at our side assured the survival of our world. But now, we must see it with mortal eyes. We dragon aspects have fulfilled our great purpose, and our ancient power is expended. But though our day draws to an end, life endures, and new generations will be born. Today's victory belongs to all who stood against the shadow. You are Azeroth's true guardians, and the future of this world is in your hands. For the dawning of the Age of Mortals has begun.
So I'm not even gonna lie, a lot of people don't like this ending. I'm 50-50 with it. I think that they did some good things about it, and I think that there were some bad things done about it. But the result cannot be denied. The aspects have lost a lot of their power, and they've also lost their immortality. So at this point, that forever changes the equation. We can't necessarily rely on them anymore, and since then, we've even had some casualties amongst them. I mean, Malagos is one of them. Neltharion is another casualty that we've now had. So it's definitely something you have to consider. And a lot of people don't like that aspect, and maybe I'll even put up a debate video from... I know Nobble doesn't like it, and I'm kind of... I agree with a lot of his stuff, but I do like this, because the bottom line is that eventually we couldn't rely on such powerful beings to save the day for us. We had to do it ourselves, and this was a great way to be able to do it, to dawn in the Age of Mortals and allow for us to kind of defend Azeroth for ourselves, which, I mean, as of Legion, has been working out fairly well. There's been a lot of collateral damage, but it's been working out at least for the most part. And so there you go. That actually ends the Cataclysm expansion, and there is peace after this for a time, at least until the mists recede around Pandaria, and we have to go to a brand new continent which has been plagued by a very ancient evil. So first of all, let's go ahead and grab some gear. And yeah, that's it for Dragon Soul. I like the ending of it. I know a lot of people don't, and I'm not necessarily going to defend it. That's not my place. But I don't have a lot of the problems that everybody else does on that matter. Oh, geez, wow! Okay, this is awesome! Boom! We just got, okay, on camera, you guys just saw me get it, the Reigns of the Blazing Drake. I wasn't even planning on that. Awesome. So yes, now I have the Blazing Drake, which is, let me see if I can show it to you guys. And let's see. So Blazing Drake. I can't remember. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, it's basically the Alexstrasza model. You can technically ride it. So come on, how do I mount it? It's not letting me mount. Oh, probably because I'm in here. Oh, and I actually did get a pet. I should probably get that for Andrea. Crap, I can't actually use it, but we're gonna go ahead and get out of here so that I can show you guys. Let's just do that really quick. And yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. So let's head back over to. I can't believe that happened. That is great. Yes. You guys saw it on camera. I wasn't even planning on it for Dungeons and Drakfus, but it happened. I've been trying to get the Blazing Drake for a while, and it hadn't happened yet. So here is the Blazing Drake. So that's now a thing. And I think that's the perfect time to both end this video as well as the Cataclysm expansion in Dungeons and Drakfu. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your continued love and support and patience as you've given it. It might be a while before we get to Mists of Pandaria, but basically that's where we're going next. We're gonna delve into the dungeons and lore of Mists of Pandaria. We'll see you guys then.